Right, 29 January 2025, and today I'm going to be giving you yet another update. I do this on a daily basis so that we can understand what is trending in Zimbabwe and in Africa. So I focus on all the trending news in the mornings, and if there's anything significant, I normally come in the evening to give you updates at 9:10 in the evening and in the morning at 5 a.m. So today we've got a very important stream. Something significant has happened yesterday, and that is the return of Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa has returned to Zimbabwe, and he appeared on ZBC last night showing off a car. So he was showing off a car and a bike from a Zimbabwean inventor called Kumbutso. So Mnangagwa is returned with heavy security, and he's basically back in office. Mnangagwa has taken over back his role as the president of Zimbabwe after the acting presidency of General Chiwenga. So as you can see on this picture, Mnangagwa's security is quite heavy. Normally they don't have this tight security around him, but he's got very tight security right now. And there are no military guys on his return. So there's no one from the military here on Mnangagwa's return. This is very significant because we are going to now go into one of the most important weeks ever in Zimbabwe. And you see that myself, I like to tell you things before they happen. I don't waste my time. Once something has happened, we're done with it. So we looked at what Chiwenga was going to do, and Chiwenga has stamped his authority. Chiwenga is now a powerful figure and a successor to Mnangagwa. You can clearly see that Chiwenga did much better than Mohadi. He shook the government. So that is the kind of person you want to be the president. Someone who's going to shake the government, someone who's going to make an impact. So Chiwenga is sure that he can be a president in Zimbabwe with no problems. However, this is a problem for Mnangagwa because Mnangagwa has lost influence. He's no longer the only person that can be president in Zimbabwe. And Mnangagwa's claim that he has to go to 2030 no longer makes sense because people can see that if Chiwenga is president, the country will still go forward. However, there are a number of things that are going to happen right now. And as I said, before Chiwenga becomes president, he must be fired from the position of vice president. Chiwenga cannot become a president from the position of the vice president because right now he's under Mnangagwa, he's part of Mnangagwa's team. So he has to leave and he must be willing to lose. So this is what I've been saying for a very, very long time. And if you follow me here, you understand the rationale. There is no way that Mnangagwa is going to allow Chiwenga to become the president from the vice presidency. So you're going to see action taking place this week. And I'm now going to give you my predictions of what is going to happen. Mnangagwa has been shaken by what has happened. He ran off to Dubai. So Mnangagwa ran off to Dubai, and according to my sources, he was living at the house of Paul Tungwarara, or he somehow set up base there. I don't know how a president lives, and I don't know how big the house of Paul Tungwarara is in Dubai. I don't know if they lived officially or if they were assisted by some of the Dubai billionaires. So Mnangagwa had, after being given intelligence that the war veterans were going to have a press conference, which I stated here during the week before the press conference, Mnangagwa had left Zimbabwe and went to Dubai, and my sources say he was living with Paul Tungwarara, or he was under the protection or whatever. I don't know what to call it. When a president goes somewhere where he's actually living in a private residency. That is what has happened here. Mnangagwa had gone over there and Paul Tungwarara was with him. So Paul Tungwarara has been given contracts worth about 5 billion for prevail drilling and additional contracts for the smart city. So the total contracts that Paul Tungwarara have got for prevail drilling and the boreholes and the solar are about $10 billion US. So this is why he was able to host Mnangagwa. So you can clearly see Mnangagwa's game plan working. He gives all this money, and these guys are able to protect him. My understanding is that Mnangagwa has also protected his money by putting a lot of his money into Bitcoin. So Mnangagwa's money is in Bitcoin, some of it, according to my sources. And we're talking here of an amount no less than $1 billion. So some of Mnangagwa's money, about $1 billion, sitting in Bitcoin. So that is my understanding. And the guy I'm showing you here, if you remember earlier this year, we said Kosana had lost almost $1 billion in Bitcoin. And my sources say this is somehow connected to Mnangagwa's money. So I'm just giving you a background of what is happening. Mnangagwa is ready to run, and he's not concerned. If he was to run today, Mnangagwa will still have his money, and the soldiers are not going to find all of Mnangagwa's money. The only way they can find Mnangagwa's money is to catch him and make him tell them where he put the money. So this is also about the money. Remember, the money has fled the country. People like Tagwire, they had concentration risk in Zimbabwe. And the question is, are they ready right now to leave? Where is Tagwire? Where is Wicknow? You saw that Wicknow left last week and flew into Cape Town. Then he went to Kenya. Then he went to Tanzania yesterday. And these movements are taking place in the middle of a possible coup that was going to take place. And I say a possible coup because the war veterans stopped short of just saying Mnangagwa must not come back. This statement could have happened that Mnangagwa should not come back, and it was then going to become a challenge. But the war veterans stopped short. They did not go to the point where they were supposed to go, which is to say Mnangagwa must not come back. They said Mnangagwa must go now, leaving the decision to Mnangagwa, whereas the decision should have been taken by the war veterans to say Mnangagwa must not come back. Instead, they said Mnangagwa must go now, and that announcement being made by Blessing Geza last week. And Chiwenga not willing to step into that position as president if Mnangagwa was to leave under those circumstances, because Geza cannot declare himself president. If Geza said Mnangagwa must not come back, then Chiwenga must take that position and become the president and order the army on the streets and order everyone to stop Mnangagwa from coming into the airport. And the army generals would have had to accept that position and tell the nation that they support the decision by Chiwenga and the war veterans. So this is what should have happened last week. However, this didn't happen. And now the ball is in Mnangagwa's court. Mnangagwa is going to move. And you're going to see his moves starting today. So today, remember what I said, this thing is going to happen now. Whoever moves slowly is going to lose. So between the two teams, whoever moves slowly is going to lose. So Mnangagwa, I know he is aware of all these things I'm talking about. He's not going to sit there and let the generals plan and let Chiwenga's camp plan. So he's going to move very fast. You're going to see a fast decision coming out of Mnangagwa's camp. Although I believe that Mnangagwa has been weakened, Mnangagwa has lost influence. He can have power, but he has lost influence. So what happens when you lose influence? People don't take you seriously. So people take Mnangagwa less seriously now than when he left and went away, especially after he fled to Dubai at night. And my understanding is that he fled in 2 jets. So 2 jets were involved in the escape of Mnangagwa, where he wanted to observe what was happening after the announcement by the war veterans, and also at the instructions of the generals. So in Mnangagwa's mind, the generals have failed. So that is what is in Mnangagwa's mind. He believes that they failed, and he believes that is now more powerful. So we're going to see an action from Mnangagwa coming back or clapping back at the generals sometime today up to Monday. If Mnangagwa does not move, the generals are going to have the next move, and whoever moves first is going to win. So this is irreversible. What you're seeing here is irreversible. It's not possible for this team to work together. So day one is this day. I showed you day one. That was on 3 March 2024, when Chiwenga boycotted an address by Mnangagwa at Mbungo, where Wiknochuvai attended. That was the first day, day one. The generals also boycotted. Day two, which is the next day that is coming, is when you see Mnangagwa on this side and Chiwenga on this side, and both of them talking words against each other. That day is coming, and then you're going to see the removal of Chiwenga. That is day 3, and then day 4, you're going to see Chiwenga ascending. So Chiwenga cannot ascend to the presidency before he's fired as vice president. So you're going to see that as the next move. 2 parties shouting at each other, Mnangagwa and Chiwenga, and then the removal of Chiwenga before ascending to the presidency. There's no doubt that Chiwenga is going to ascend and eventually become the president of Zimbabwe. But those events must first take place, because Mnangagwa is a very proud person. He's not going to allow himself to be taken out the way that these guys are planning to take him in an embarrassing way and using public speeches. So Mnangagwa is going to come back, and this week you're going to see something starting today. And if he doesn't do it, he's going to lose. Something bad is going to happen to him. But I think I've covered this. And as I said, Wiknochuvai, watch his movements very closely. Wiknochuvai moves Mnangagwa's money. So Wiknochuvai, Paul Tungwarara, all these guys, they move Mnangagwa's money. And Mnangagwa's money is in gold, in cash, and also, as I said, about $1 billion in Bitcoin. According to my sources, Mnangagwa has already put some of his money in a way that you cannot take it, which is Bitcoin. The only way to get that money will be to get the guy who's got his keys, or to get Mnangagwa and put him in a corner and get those codes. Because that once money is in Bitcoin, there's nothing you can do about it. Right, I think I've covered this. So let's watch what happens starting today. It's going to be big. It's going to be interesting. And this is where you need a team. So does Chiwenga have a strong team, a strategic team? Does Mnangagwa have a team? Does he have a strategic team? We're going to be analyzing these events as they happen. And this is irreversible. There's no way back from here. As you saw, Tatina Mavetera singing against Chiwenga. And for those who didn't see, let me play the video for you now. Okay, I think that's not a video. I thought that was a video. Let's play a video. Right, so that's Mpanduki Nguwa Yakwana. Chiwenga, your time is up. That is what she was singing. The Minister of ICT in Zimbabwe, leading a group called Women for ED. Women for ED was the first group to be formed, the 4 ED groups. And when Tinashe Jonas comes here, I'm going to let him explain to you the genesis of Women for ED, how it was formed, and who was in Women for ED, and what it means. So there is a lot here behind Women for ED, and Jonas was in CIO at that time when it was formed, and he will let you know. He has spoken about it in the past, and I think most people didn't see. You also saw the crowd by Chiwenga over here, which is the military crowd. So the guys who were singing here, I believe that some of them were from the military. Right, so you got 2 groups now, and this is the best. So Mnangagwa using the 4 ED groups, Chiwenga using the groups from the army. So those are the groups from the army, and my belief is that these are off-duty guys from the army who are over here, most of them. And I believe that the 4 ED groups over here are very well funded, but they can't do anything. So if let's say Ishona Chika Bondoka, the only thing that for ED people can do is to run. And the army guys, they are able to do something. They're able to actually make action on the ground. The question is, how much support does this have at the grassroots level and also at the top level? So when we talked about it last week, we said there is a level here that has got a lot of people. So approximately 100 people sit at this level. This is the brigadier general level. You've got about 100 people here. That is 10 people per province multiplied by 10 provinces. That's about 100 people at this level, or approximately that level of brigadier general. Most of these guys are all veterans, but of course, so the guy I was talking to said, you can't get to this level if you are not a war veteran. So there is a lot of war veterans sitting here, which is approximately 100 war veterans. Then when you go up to this level here, where Chiwenga met the generals on 13 December, you've got less people here. I think approximately between 10 to 20 people. So Chiwenga has to convince 130 people to support him. And then the guys in the ranks are going to follow. What you're going to see is going to depend a lot on what happens, what Valerio says and does, what this guy does, Mutamba, and also we know that Mangwanya, who is the new CIO appointee, is a Mnangagwa guy. But all this is happening at a time when all this doesn't matter. What matters is what is going to happen on the ground and what is going to happen at that brigadier level and also at the level of the generals. So the top generals here, about 20 people and about 100 people at the brigadier level here. So Mnangagwa is just watching, and let's see who has made the groundwork, who has done his groundwork. However, it will not stay the same. There is going to be movement, and that movement is going to happen. So within this month, you're going to see something happening, something very big. First, starting with these guys, what is going to happen to them? That is Manyaza, Nenji, Uyu Noxiero, and Blessing Geza. So let's see what movement happens. If these guys, nothing happens to them, the next thing you see is then what happens in the barracks. Are the barracks ready to rebel against Mnangagwa? That is coming. The rebellion is coming against Mnangagwa, and the action has to happen. But first, as I said, action against Chiwenga. Chiwenga must leave that position of vice president. Then you start seeing real movement, and then you see public fighting among them, not through proxies, but direct fighting between Chiwenga and Mnangagwa. That has to come, and that has to happen in public. So that is the path that I've been talking about here since last year. So I've been describing to you guys that after the ZANU PF conference, so the ZANU PF conference was very important. The events that are happening now are preparing for the new government of Chiwenga. And I think Chiwenga has done a good job of setting up the foundation. But he now has to build a team, and he now has to get from under Mnangagwa. So because if he's under Mnangagwa, he's not going to be president. Mnangagwa is going to stop him from becoming president. His children are not safe, his family is not safe, and his wealth is not safe. So Mnangagwa is not going to allow that situation to continue. Right, we've done 18 minutes. I normally want to do 10 minutes on a topic, but this is one of the most complex topics ever. But I'm very clear about what is going to happen. I've got no doubt in these possible scenarios. So the scenarios I've given you here is the bigger picture. And then in the shorter term, we're going to see action against Chiwenga for what has happened. He has embarrassed Mnangagwa by his support. He received so much support, and Mnangagwa did not expect it. Mnangagwa expected Chiwenga to be embarrassed and to fail, but he didn't fail. However, he believes that the generals have failed. So Mnangagwa believes that the generals have failed, and he's going to take action. So you're going to see that action this week. Now, let's go to SADC. And SADC has held the Troika meeting last night. SADC Troika on the situation in the DRC. So they've held it in Tanzania at the end or in the evening after the energy summit that is currently taking place in Tanzania. So they've held a Troika meeting. The situation in the DRC is like this. So my friends are sitting inside the DRC. So I actually have people right now who are inside the battle who I talk to on a daily basis. So what happened yesterday is that after the soldiers gave up and went into Rwanda, some of them went and surrendered in Rwanda. Some of them surrendered at the airport and were carried into Rwanda. There is a small group of soldiers at the airport in Goma that has refused to surrender. So fighting continued at the airport. There's also a base where local soldiers refused to leave. So that is DRC soldiers. And the M23 rebels have gone into the base and they've cleared them. So there is a lot of death that has taken place. My understanding is that SADC is understating the numbers of people that have died. And my friend here says there are at least 2 to 3 times more soldiers that have died compared to the numbers from SADC. So yesterday, 17 more people died. That is on top of the people that died during the weekend. The biggest attack was on Friday, where South Africa lost 9 soldiers. And then yesterday, South Africa lost 4 more soldiers who were killed in battle, and some of them who died at the hospitals. So my understanding is that the South Africans are going to come up with an even bigger number today. So the South Africans are doing a press conference today on the deaths in the DRC. And my understanding is that that number in South Africa could go up to 30. And what I've said is that the moment the South African casualties hit 100, you are going to have a national outcry. So there's going to be a national outcry if the number hits 100, and South Africa is going to move. So that is a tipping point. If you get to 100 soldiers from South Africa dead, the whole population of this country is going to say, no, we cannot continue to have a war that has got no objective. So there is no objective to the war in the DRC. There is no measure of success to say at what point have we finished? How do we know that we succeeded? However, powerful South African figures have got interests in the DRC, they've got mines in the DRC, and just to move the tanks and the equipment into the DRC, you can get paid as much as 30 billion rands, which is 1.5 billion US dollars. So the person with the contract last year to move the tanks and all the other equipment to the DRC was paid 1.5 billion dollars or 30 billion rands. So the issues at play are not just political, but they're also financial. So there's a lot of money exchanging hands, and the South Africans are going to wake up to the situation. And I give that as the number of 100. The moment 100 soldiers are killed, there will be a national outcry and people are going to stop it. They're going to stop everything that is happening right now. That war makes no sense. South Africans don't have to die in the DRC. I don't support it. It makes no sense at all. Then in news, General Engelbert Rugeje, he has gone over to Beitbridge. He was doing an inspection over there. So these guys were caught by surprise by Mnangagwa, the generals. They didn't know that Mnangagwa was going to come back as soon as he did. So they were continuing as usual. So Rugeje went to the border at Beitbridge to inspect. And this is during the same time that Mnangagwa came back. So you know that all the generals are one side, and that includes the war veterans. And the time for pretending is over. So there's no more pretending. All the generals, all the soldiers, and Chiwenga on one side, and Mnangagwa, and probably a private army of some sort, and people that are entrepreneurs, or Zigananda. Do you guys hear about Zigananda? So Zigananda, Madinga, they are on the side of Mnangagwa, and the army generals, war veterans, and soldiers on the other side. So it's going to be very interesting. And I think that this happened before they knew that Mnangagwa was going to come back. A jet, I think it takes about 5 or 6 hours to fly from Dubai to Zimbabwe. So right now there is a jet just waiting there. If the need to run arises, Mnangagwa is going to run, and he can even do it from a private airport. So this guy is very smart. Mnangagwa, I don't want to say smart because the Chimama said I mustn't use that word. So Mnangagwa also uses a brain or power play or uses tactics of confusing the enemy. So this is what Mnangagwa is doing here. You'll be surprised that Mnangagwa didn't sleep in Zimbabwe right now. So it's possible because they've got a lot of funds. So they can easily come, stand there with Kumbuzo and jump back into the plane and go back to Dubai. So it's possible. And the days that what it's at right now are critical. But if Mnangagwa is worried, you will not see Mnangagwa's family in Zimbabwe. So that is the very important indicator. If you don't see Mnangagwa's family in Zimbabwe, he's very concerned. So that he's going to put Anakuda and all those guys somewhere very far away. He's going to make him sit maybe in Davos or whatever. He won't put them in one country, put them in different places. And that is very important. And then Auxilia, she's going to stick around as the figurehead of the family. So Mnangagwa and the kids can be away, but you're going to see Auxilia sitting around until the very last minute. Because remember, Auxilia is intelligence. She's coming from the CIO. She has to control the CIO. And I don't think many people understand when Jonas says the CIO is very big and is very powerful. So I think I'll bring Jonas here on Monday. Then we can have an analysis of the role that the CIO is going to play now and why they failed to play that role in 2017. Then let's look at other things that have happened here. I want to quickly look at soccer. So Zimbabwe is going to be in the same group in AFCON with South Africa, Angola, and Egypt. So they're going to play, and the finals are in Morocco in December. So in December, there's going to be a soccer match, a big soccer match, or a final of the AFCON. You can go and check that out so where do you check it out? I don't even know where to check it out, but I've got the news. So go check it out in the newspapers. And then I've been following Caston Mateo. Caston Mateo is in the United States of America. Very interesting. Go to his Facebook and check as he travels around in different places. And yesterday he went to his uncle's farm in Texas. So go check out Caston Mateo, one of the MPs of the opposition. Very interesting to see him moving around the United States of America. Chamisa, I've been looking at Chamisa and I don't see any tweets that he's doing, except for a small tweet that he did yesterday, which says, go back to the basics. There is no government that can ever prosper, succeed, or functionally effective when the majority of the citizens are not in agreement. So what I want from Chamisa is I want to see him talking, I want to see him giving direction, and I want him to be consistent. So at the moment, I'm a bit concerned that when something happens, Chamisa is not going to be the beneficiary of whatever happens. And as I said, you go here on your WhatsApp and you go to updates, then you look for the Chamisa News channel. So this is where you get news before it even gets on Twitter. And if you want to download videos of Nelson Chamisa, you can go over there to the Chamisa News channel. And you can also go to Job Scholar. Job Scholar has got a channel over there called the National Democratic Working Group. And he posts here very frequently on a daily basis. Yesterday, Tendai BT spoke. He's on social media. You can go and check out Tendai BT. He had a big interview yesterday about the ED 2030. So if you want to know the views about ED 2030, as I said, Tendai BT must come out, and he has come out and spoken on ED 2030. So go check out Tendai BT. And I said to you, according to my sources, Tendai BT has not left politics. He's just managing the optics, but he's actually the one in charge right now in CCC. Now let's go to business. In business, we looked at the Soweto newspaper. So the Soweto newspaper are showing the new Toyota Corolla. So this is the classic car. Most of you have driven Toyota Corollas. I have driven at least 3 Toyota Corollas, and now they've changed the shape. So the Toyota Corolla now looks like this. The Toyota Corolla Cross. The reason why they make it look like this is because of the Uber. So the Uber one is with a boot, and if you're driving a Corolla, it puts you in danger in South Africa, as people think you're an Uber and they want to attack you. So they've made the Uber the anti-Uber, the one that doesn't look like an Uber over here. That is the one that is costing 404,000 rands or 515, the highest level. So they started 414 and end up at 515. One of the cheapest cars. The Chinese are selling their car between 500 and 900,000 rands. So very expensive cars these days. And I'll be announcing, as I said this week, our new project in Zimbabwe and our new partnership in the car industry. And then obviously, please go and buy Muve, Musatongwe, Nema Salad over there. You can pick up in Harare, Bulawayo, Victoria Falls, Cape Town, Johannesburg, and our cups have arrived. So starting today, you're going to get a call to come and pick up your cup Yamdara. And if you're in Bulawayo, if you buy a pack, you're going to get honey and ginger, so that upise semoto uno pisa semoto. Right, I think we've covered everything. Let's go and look at one newspaper. I want to look at the H Metro newspaper. H Metro newspaper, my favorite newspaper. I watch this, I read this newspaper on a daily basis. And the guys are doing a good job. And now Lateral, they produce the best news every morning, the TMZ of Zimbabwe. So let's see what's over here in the H Metro newspaper. So H Metro is leading with the story called Reunion. So I'm reuniting with my love, the father of my children. So Andy Murizo is reunited with his wife, Amai Keketso, and the couple is thrilled with their great union. Amai Keketso was even told H Metro that the house is engulfed with flames of love. As you pay Mushe. Guys, you know my opinions on such a thing. Kanawambora mabkazi, usadzoka ikoko. Akadarika maoko akawanda usipo awuzvigoni. That's what I have to say about all this situation. And then obviously, let's see if there's anything else of interest here. And I'm not lying, guys. We should go to 2 days. So, panopera 1 week. Because anongatondarika kwakawanda kudzimba kana 10 jezo. Uchiti achiri paya pawakamusiya ari. So vakomana ava vanoita macomeback handibvumirani navo. Parents jailed for hiding part of 40,000 loot. So that is the parents who hid part of the 40,000 loot with their son is stolen have been jailed to 6 months. That is John Tuwe and Triniso Ndlovu. So they appeared in the Quick Magistrate's Court, and the National Protection Authority said the husband hid 680 in the wardrobe. They also hid 5,200 in a plastic bag containing meat inside the fridge. So I don't know where they store this money, but you can go check out these stories in the H Metro newspaper. And then obviously, Carlton Mudiwa Mudiwiwa has been jailed for fraud. Go check out what has happened and how many months they've jailed him. So that is the newspaper that I'm looking at today. Let's see what's in the Chronicle newspaper. Chronicle Zimbabwe, as usual. Today they published. So Nandada would seek Amdara we Chronicle. But no, now don't zinga him, please. They have the same newspaper stories that are there in the Herald. There's nothing new here. And then there is a new dam that is going to be constructed in Bulawayo that is called the Glass Block Dam. So the BCC is set to consult on the new Popoma Glass Block Dam that is going to be constructed. So that is the story in the Chronicle newspaper. However, all the newspapers in Zimbabwe from the government, Zim papers are free. So if you type the zimpapers.co.zw, they all come out and you see the newspaper itself in full. They don't sell news like other countries. And obviously, the only thing that is missing is my analysis, which is I give you things before they happen. That is why you guys come to me. It's called, that's why I say news is a commodity. When I say news is a commodity, I mean, if I give you all the news in the newspaper, someone has to come and give you and make it make sense for you. And that is what we do here every morning at Gambakwe Media. Right, Mnangagwa and Chiwenga, the same thing. No change will come from these people. I think that's a very loaded statement. I've done a whole video on this, and I'm going to replay it today so that you guys can understand. He will go nowhere. Let's see. Someone is going to go this week. Then Panishiri, Inonzi same no moon, and ghost account. Right? And then do you trust Jonas? Why do you leave being CIO when there's money? Who's funding him? Jonas Anamari. He doesn't have that money. He's on the run. He sleeps in different places every day. Go and look at the background. When Jonas was talking to me, what it looks like, it's bad. He's not blessing, but blessed Geza. Yes, Mkoma, I apologize for calling Darawangu blessing. It's called Blessed Geza. This guy is going to go in history as one of the first people to speak out and to kick off the events that are just about to take place in Zimbabwe. Of course, I've got a lot of favorite people. I don't know what you mean. I post out chinas. Let's look at. I'm drinking my screen. Sorry, guys, I have to look away. Let's see what did Mini post today. Mini your table. So last week I was saying Mini your table, and then someone was sitting with me said no. She is Mini your table. So let's see what she's posted today. She is always posting very interesting stuff. Today she's only posting about her weight. So I want to show you she's moved from 76.4 to 75.4. That's not weight loss. Imvura jete inenge yadona. So apana weight loss kana waluza 50 kg 1 kg. Zvakafana kuti ukamhanya paunodzoka kumhanya unenge waluza iyoyo 1 kg. So anyway, guys, these are my people that I watch on social media every day. Titan, Kiki, Panaka baby, so I watch every day. Kanopenga on a daily basis. And also, who else do I watch? Come to think of it, I do watch a lot of people. All the new people who are on social media from Zimbabwe, I do watch them. And what I like is consistent content, people who produce consistently on a daily basis. Most of the guys, they love to sleep. So right now as you speak, a lot of them are still sleeping and they only produce content after they watch other content. It makes no sense. It's a joke. Mr. G, don't push Chamisa into ZANU PF fighting. He must stand for and look when time is right. He'll come in or when invited. Yes, Mkoma, to me, I do agree. But what I would like to say, I mean, Dr. Chamisa, and don't just say, and what I tell you is, my sense that I get, I want to get the comfort. You could punish guilty. And when I don't get that sense, then Chamisa will not become a beneficiary of all the hard work that is coming. There's a lot that is going to happen. And as I said, we don't want to go another 15 years without a proper government. Then you saw the way that Chiwenga treated his wife and how he twisted the judiciary to say ZANU PF will always be ZANU PF. Do you know how I know Mary Mbaiwa? Do you know how I know him? You don't know. If you knew, you would cry. Muchema, semuri pamariro. Mkoma. Inini ndoziva vanhu vakawanda. Zvinokushamisai zvandoziva. Kutambangu, but handizida kuzvi unonzi kuita sei beating my own chest. But apa ndokuudza a man in public is different from a man in private. There are some people that you respect. Zvekuti mukavaona in private, you won't respect them. Ndapedza nemi Mkoma. Ndapedza nemi. Don't say kuti because a man did this at home, he's going to do this in public. Because some of your guys who are in politics, some of the things that they do, And some of the things that I see them doing is shocking. Right. I think I've covered everything here. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I really enjoyed talking to you. Please join the Victoria Falls project. If you're in Harare, call me, WhatsApp me, become part of, have a holiday home in Victoria Falls. It's only going to cost you $2,000. If you're in the diaspora, join the diaspora homecoming scheme. You get a house, a tiny house. And if you're in Victoria Falls, have a nice home. Join the Victoria Falls management scheme so that we have a beautiful city. If things normalize in Zimbabwe, you won't be able to buy a property in Victoria Falls. Foreigners are going to flock over there. They're going to own. So join us and become part of this exciting project. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching.